All right, and we're live. Welcome everyone to the stream. Thank you, Mike and Kyle, for joining me. It's been a bit longer than we wanted to do than we wanted to do the second community call. We had a team member that had COVID, so we were just kind of working behind the scenes, making sure that he was okay, and just really working. So of course, thank you all for joining me on the format of this call. We're just going to go over our progress in the past few weeks. I think it's been about 3 weeks since we did the last call. And at any point, of course, we're happy to take questions from the audience. If you want to ask us anything, just put it in the chat. We'll highlight the question and ask it. But yeah, with that said, there's three real core updates we want to go over. The first is that yesterday we delivered our smart contracts to our auditors. Um, yeah. Mike, do you want to share just a brief update there regarding the audit?
Sure. Yeah. So we have our kind of core contracts and the verifier contracts under audit right now. Kind of a critical step for us to get to mainnet deployment. So we want it to be as secure as possible. Like we've done the best as like internally that we can do to ensure security, but obviously good to have a third-party reviewer. So we have a kind of formal audit going on right now. We will release the report when it's complete. We will, and then we anticipate just deploying to mainnet as soon as the audit kind of passes. So yeah, that's the plan right now, and
Awesome.
very excited about it. Yeah.
So that is supposed to take about 3 weeks or so. Is that correct?
uh, it could, but there's a little back and forth. I've been through the process actually on both sides before. I used to work as an auditor, so yeah, this will be like 2 to 3 weeks. There will be, depending on like if vulnerabilities are found or we need to patch anything, like we'll patch and then once we're ready to release, we'll release. But yeah, we're hoping 3 weeks. Could be a little more, but yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah. And as we mentioned on the last call, all of the smart contracts are on GitHub. So if you want to check them out yourself, please do so. The links are pretty much all over, so I'm sure you can find them. But Mike, could you just clarify what's actually under audit in this? So the smart contracts are being audited, but not the relayer order types that we've already built. Is that correct?
No, the order types are really defined on the smart contract side by what we call verifier contracts. So that's like the Brink verifiers repo. I can put a link in the chat if I do this. Oh, there we go.
If you send it in the private chat too, I can also paste it so everyone can see it. But you can as well.
Oh, I can't. I can just paste the links here, but it's good to know. It's let's see, it's Brink verifiers on the Brink Trade GitHub and Brink Core as well.
Awesome. Yep. So I'll share this with everybody. Feel free to check this out if you're interested. I see people are flowing in now, saying hello. So welcome to everyone. We're so glad you could make it and hear about our updates. Cool. So feel free if there's any questions about the audit process, how you guys could help, or just anything at all. Please feel free to include them. But moving on to the next thing, the next update we wanted to talk about was the Git book that you put together, Mike. Can you share who would that be useful for? Would that be useful for anyone that's looking to become a relayer or build an executor?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just developer docs. So we put together some developer docs. I think Justin, you could throw the link in the chat here.
Yep.
It's like mostly just around the smart contract side. So definitely, like if you are interested in building a relayer or what we were calling executor in the system, you can use those docs.
Awesome. So. Great. And then lastly, before we get into any questions, if there are them from the audience, we are really excited to share that we're going to ETH Lisbon. So please write in the comments if you're going to be headed there as well. But that is in mid to late October. So we've got our team Airbnb set up. We're going to get tickets. And we're thinking what we can do to engage the community before that event. So I'm not sure if folks here watching or anyone in the Discord would be interested in participating in some type of potential bounty. We're really looking for feedback on the community of what we could do most to help. A couple ideas we had were like, obviously, we would love to sponsor or put on an event there of any capacity. We'll see what that looks like. And we were thinking of doing a potential bounty um, beforehand that would have some type of reward to it. And we're trying to figure out how to structure that. So if there's anyone in the community that's a developer that's looking to get involved, we're definitely open to anything and would love to talk with you more. This is going to be my first ETH conference, so I'm very excited for it. And obviously, Lisbon's a beautiful place.
And I think there's some other events going on, so we'll be there the week before the ETH Lisbon hack event. But yeah, there's always a lot going on around these events. I'm super excited because it's been over a year since I've been to any like crypto event like this. So now
Yeah,
that they're kind of ramping up again, we're happy to kind of get involved. Yeah, we basically like formed the company and built this project during the pandemic, um, and did it fully remote. We haven't really done anything for this project specifically, like at a public event before. So like a physical public event. So we're excited to go.
yeah.
Oh, can we answer some of these questions
Yeah,
in the
no,
chat?
absolutely. Let's see, with the first one here from Totofu. Will there be a special reward system for developers who build and publish custom verifiers? This is an awesome question. So I'll let Mike get into it. Mike and Kyle get into it more. But the short answer is yes. Like the whole system is designed so that the incentives really align for all participants to have a reason to interact with the protocol. So I'll let Mike and Kyle take over and go more in depth in that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm looking at. I think they're asking what additional incentives are there as well. So there are
Oh,
like
I see.
built-in reward incentives, of course. That's like, we've talked about this before, arbitrage-based incentive for limit orders, for other order types. Like each order type in Brink has to kind of design its own incentive system. So Brink itself is not opinionated about how executors get rewards. It's just kind of a protocol that connects like executors and account order signers, like account owners that are signing orders against their account. So as far as additional incentives, we're thinking about offering some bounties here. We haven't announced anything yet, but we're planning to have, possibly like some ongoing bounties for like just kind of encouraging development around some of these new order types. We've had, we did the snapshot.org poll voting with the non-transferable token and got some like feature prioritization there. So we could use that as input for like what bounties we would offer for like what automated order types. We're potentially going to be announcing some bounty around like the Lisbon events, since we'll be there for the week, and we'd love to work with devs in person who are kind of attending some of the crypto and Ethereum focused events that week. But yeah, that's individual or additional incentives beyond just the rewards that are built in. Would have to come from kind of us as a team, I think. So stay tuned for announcements on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something we would love to do and are excited about. I mean, I think we've mentioned this a lot of different times in separate calls and videos and whatnot, and just in the Discord. But the goal here is not for us to not be executing these transactions and not we want other people to outcompete us eventually. We have basic execution services built in, of course, just so there's that initial liquidity. But hopefully, we are obsolete quickly, just so that the system is as efficient as possible for the end user.
Yeah, exactly.
Another interesting question, news on the token model. Is that something that is being worked on? It is something that's being worked on. Not too sure how much we want to share here. Mike, do you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, we're not like publicizing anything yet about the token model specifically. We are trying to launch kind of the V1 of the app very soon. So um, that's going to be launched without a token, like without a native token. But we're we're definitely like it's something that we talk about as a team a lot. But we're waiting until we kind of have everything finalized to announce anything about that. But also stay
Yeah.
tuned for an announcement on that.
And just to be clear, I'm sure the people that are in this watching this live stream are probably like more aware than the average person in the Discord. But like just to double confirm this, it's been part of all of our messaging and documents around the non-transferable token that we distributed to the Discord community. So that will always be a non-transferable token that will stay in users' wallets. But that is going to be used for us to track engagement, voting, just general participation, and we like have a system in mind to reward those people however we can, and that's always been our intention. We hope to like the people that have been with us before, like we're pre-product right now. The people that have been here helping us out, giving us feedback, we really want to reward those people as much as possible, of course.
Absolutely, yeah, and we really appreciate all the engagement that we've had there. I think yeah, we have a great community. To see a lot of the same people
Yeah.
in there.
Crash and
So
Learn says
yeah,
sweet. We try to do what we
that's
can.
great.
Yeah,
Great response.
yeah. Um, is it possible to have more than one proxy account per EOA? This is a really cool question.
No, actually, it's one proxy account per EOA. The EOA actually determines what your proxy address is. So with like basically like Brink V1 compatible proxies, you will only have one per EOA, and the address will always be the same given your EOA address.
Yep.
But you can have multiple EOAs in order to have multiple Brink accounts, but only one proxy per EOA.
Yeah, this is probably a good time if you're okay sharing, if you guys want to talk about how you built, how that proxy account actually gets deployed. I think it's fascinating how the transactions get bundled together, just the efficiency there for gas for the user.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just added a little bit in the docs around this, but it's not. I guess yeah, it could be more. We could maybe focus a little more on this in the docs. But the way that accounts get deployed, so you can sign orders without deploying your account. So you can actually sign an order against your a proxy account with your EOA as the signer address without the account being deployed. And then an executor can pick up that signed message. And that signed message, it costs you nothing. It's not an on-chain transaction. It's just basically you're signing the conditions for an order. So let's say it's a limit order. You sign this limit order. You can transfer funds for the limit order to your proxy address. The proxy has not been deployed yet, but you know what the address is based on your EOA. And we're designing some decent UX around this so that it's not super confusing. But anyways, you can send funds to the kind of proxy account. No proxies deployed there. You sign your order against that, and then an executor can pick up your order, and they will basically do like a bundled transaction that deploys your account and executes the order in a single transaction. So uh, you will you actually pay the gas cost of deploying your account, which is pretty low because we've done a lot to optimize that. But the cost of deploying your account gets bundled into your first order, essentially. Like the system's designed to allow you to do that, so you don't have to prepay for deployment of the account.
Gotcha.
And then you only have to do that once. Once your account is deployed, then subsequent orders will be just the cost of the order at that point. And orders always gas deferred to execution time. If your order doesn't execute, you don't pay any gas for it.
Gotcha. There's some great questions here I want to go to in a second, Mike. But can you just? I know we ran the gas estimates recently. Can you just talk a little bit about maybe in U.S. dollar terms, just how much a couple of these actions would take would cost for the end user?
Yeah, I don't know in US dollar terms necessarily, but I know in like gas, and I think proxy account deployment we have at like 160K gas right now.
Okay.
It might get lower.
And
Oh
for
yeah, go ahead.
context, the Uniswap swap is about
Like
250,000.
it depends, but like 150 to 300. It could be
Okay.
more, it could be less. That it's very dependent on like the token that you're swapping, because some token transfer functions are heavier in terms of gas usage than others. But like, yeah, I've seen some swap pairs will be up to 300K gas. Some could be as low as like 150. So our proxy account deployment costs like basically the same as like a cheaper Uniswap swap.
Gotcha. Awesome. I did include our link to the Gitbook there if you just want a central place for all of the documents we have put up now and what we're going to put up. And there's also some helpful links there. So that is linked in the chat. But some more interesting questions. I'll just go through them in order. The first is the UI, this is something I'm actually excited to talk about, is the UI ready to be deployed when the audit comes back positive? Hopefully it comes back positive. We'll cross our fingers there.
Yeah, it is ready to be deployed with a few small changes. So we did do like recently a big upgrade. We migrated everything to Ethers. We were on Web3 before. That was a big one. We're still working on a few things, but we have the same UI that we had for our like previous beta test. I don't know if anyone here was involved in that, but we're using the same kind of core web app, and we'll just be deploying that again. We're also working with a designer to like clean that up a little bit. So it's going to be, if we have time, then we'll implement the new designs and launch.
Awesome.
I'm already good. Sorry if I got cut off there. This is my internet.
Just a bit. I think we heard it. We heard everything we needed to. Very cool question here that's, I've been thinking about a lot is how 1559, how the tip mechanism will affect Brink order UX. Do either of you guys want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think it's more of like something that the executors will have to deal with. I don't think that it's going to change the UX for like an account owner. Like if you have a Brink account and you're signing orders, like you will not be, you won't have to worry about like how the order actually gets executed. That's kind of like a core property of what we built. It's like it's a layer of abstraction between what you're doing on chain. You're basically just like signing an order that allows an executor to do something on chain for you. So it's the executor's role to deal with something like, the additional minor tip that now exists. So that's my short answer. It won't affect UX for account or order signers, but executors have to deal with it.
Gotcha. And then I think for the end user, for the actual executor, there will be benefits here because with 1559, you can now essentially guarantee your transaction. If you would like to, you can guarantee your transaction gets mined in the next 10 blocks if you pay a certain tip fee. Just based on how the pricing scales up for gas and how the block size increases, you can kind of guarantee that in the next, I believe it's 10 blocks, but it could be some type of time interval there that your transaction will go through. Is that something we would want to plan for, that perhaps we could, offer the user, they could check a box where they're willing to spend a bit more to make sure that like as soon as their stop loss order or as soon as their liquidity position management order like could be filled, it's filled within a certain amount of seconds or blocks. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think with like fixed fee reward, we will have to do something like that. We have some ideas about how to like incentivize different types of orders, but yeah, for something where you're kind of more directly rewarding the executor, like being able to increase that amount, I think makes sense. I'm also working on something to like basically bank some gas token in order to like kind of soften the volatility, so you don't have to like increase your like reward fee for the executor explicitly. But yeah, we'll have more developments on that. For the way we've designed limit orders, like you just don't need to worry about it at all. You don't need to specify any gas increase. It does affect like where the order gets executed in terms of market pricing, but it's not something you need to explicitly set.
Cool. Fud Zero asks if how we're thinking about the possible chatter about regulation that we're seeing in the U.S. now. Um, I'll let you guys take it if you want to, but just some thoughts there. I mean, we're just doing what we can to follow the law when possible, like as it stands in the U.S. and keep building. I mean, what's going to happen is going to happen. Well, we never have custody over assets, which is a huge advantage for us from a regulatory perspective. But on top of that, we're taking extra steps to be even more careful. I mean, Mike talks to the legal team. It seems like every day now. I mean, we're really trying to follow everything by the book as much as possible. Uh, but you never know. Regulation is possible. Some regulation is definitely going to come. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not like as on the latest like regulation that's going on right now as some are, but I know that we're in the same boat as a lot of like other DeFi projects. I think we're basically a software development team. Like we're not facilitating any money transfer at all. We're deploying code. We are, running execution service, but the execution service is really, it's kind of like technical piping more so than like doing any sort of money transfer. So like fully non-custodial service, obviously. So I think that's puts us in one category. But yeah, it's unclear to say like if you're deploying smart contracts or like we are executing some transactions on chain that have to do with orders, then like if we're acting as a relayer, maybe that puts us in another category, but we're just not sure right now. And ultimately, like we are designing this whole system so that we are not like a core operator of it. It's kind of like the point of these decentralized systems. So if we're not the core operator, then like what are we as a team? I think of us as a software team.
I think the main concern people would have is like you could think of an executor as being the same thing as a validator or a miner. So the executors may have things to worry about when it comes to regulation, but it's not something we're super worried about at this moment.
Yes, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have one last thing I wanted to talk about. If you have any last minute questions or questions you wanted to squeeze in there, send them in the chat now. But the last thing I wanted to chat about was like our potential moves to L2, to layer twos like Optimism and Arbitrum. We're always going to be focused on Ethereum, or probably, as long as Ethereum is what it is today, we'll be focused on Ethereum. But we put out a Twitter poll. It seems like the overwhelming majority would like to see Arbitrum as the first L2 we deploy to. So just wanted to chat about this, see if Mike and Kyle had anything to mention there. But our thinking is kind of like, if, as soon as we have that stable product on mainnet, this Brink is just so much better on an L2, just because transactions will be much quicker. They'll be easier to execute. They'll be much cheaper for the end user. And whatever price that you want to swap at, like, it's going to happen as soon as possible. And I tested out Optimism, and transactions cost under $1. I forget exactly in gas terms how much that is, and that's expected to decrease. So we know for a lot of users that don't have large positions in the six-figure size, they really need an L2 solution. We are trying to be as mindful of that as possible. Is there anything else you wanted to add there, Mike and Kyle?
Yeah, I'll just say like I'm super excited about deploying this on L2. Like we are going to deploy on mainnet Ethereum first, but yeah, we can deploy on any EVM compatible chain. I think there will probably be some changes that we have to make in order to deploy on those two systems, like Arbitrum and Optimism. But we fully expect to do so, and more as well. Like we'll we are a small team right now, so we're somewhat resource constrained, but we want to deploy on like any viable EVM compatible chain that makes sense. So I'll say that. I won't name any specifics, but we're looking into others.
And if your time zone isn't too far off from ours, we're all on the East Coast now, and you're a developer, please reach out if you're interested in, if you want to build on L2, reach out to us. We're always looking to chat with more people and expand our network and see if there's any potential fits there.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we could potentially offer a bounty for, is like just deploying the system on L2, or just work with another dev. Like we're always open to working with community people, and potentially going to be hiring as well. So it's a good way to kind of like get to know the team and the code that we're building. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you're interested.
Awesome. So with that, I don't see any more questions popping up. I want to thank everyone for watching. If you're watching this live, thank you so much. Thank you for asking great questions. If you're watching this pre-recorded, make sure to join our Discord, reach out to us. We're happy to chat with anybody. We love getting feedback, and we love, just perusing the Discord channel, seeing new ideas people have for automation and products that they want to build and use. So with that, again, thank you all so much. Thanks, Mike and Kyle, for joining me. And we'll talk to you guys, talk to you all probably in about 2 weeks. We'll do another stream to update you, or maybe 3 weeks, whenever the audit's done is probably a good time to do another call. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate all of your help and feedback, and we will talk to you in the Discord.